How do I fit in without magic? I haven't got a clue. Winter wrap up, let's finish our holiday.
Hi, my name is Stephen Conrad, otherwise known as DJ Midley. I'm the Deputy of Public Relations for BronyCan, Canada's national convention, the President of the Algonquin Bronies, the Co-President of Ottawa Bronies, and DJ for Everfree Radio, and I'm a Brony.
On October 10th, 2010, the first episode of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, was aired. Hamid Amidi, who worked for the website Cartoon Brew, wrote an article about how the show was a sign of the end of the creator-driven era of TV animation. This article was brought up and discussed on the website 4chan, where people discussed the plot, characters, and animation style of the show. The fandom adopted the name Bronies, which is the combination of two words, bro and pony. The show became a phenomenon in the blink of an eye, as the fan base spread all across the internet. These bronies are typically males between the ages of 13 and 35.
I am a normal person. I have a normal college. I have a normal job. I work at Staples. I do pretty much everything normal by the books. It just so happens that I also like a show, My Little Pony. That's my favorite show.
You get hooked, like anything else, and you're like, this is actually really good. It's aimed towards little girls, but wow.
I was really skeptical at first because when I was a kid, I used to see all those My Little Pony toy commercials, you know, with that sugary sweet music, pink colors. And my inner 10-year-old basically said, ugh.
I never knew that there was an Algonquin Bronies here. I only learned about it last semester when I was walking up here, and I noticed that there were some guys wearing some Brony t-shirts. I'm like, wow, do you guys watch this show? And they're like, yeah, we're part of the Algonquin Bronies. I'm like, can I join? Like, sure. So to actually watch it in a group, you can strengthen that bond with them.
It's the people that are built around in this loving and accepting community that brings you in and takes you as one of their own and doesn't judge you based off what you believe. That's what most people are there for.
There's not really anything different from a brony than there is with some other people. It's not like some psychological condition where they're subject to watching this show and they have to, or it's part of their disability. It's just a show.
I have actually come to the defense of another brony who is being physically beaten just because he said he liked ponies.
We're just like any other person. We just have our own little colorful side to ourselves.
Either accept the person or tolerate them. You don't have to be angry at them. You don't have to dislike them just because they have a different opinion than you.
Before the fandom, you know, I used to be quite nervous and didn't know how to express myself. I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome when I was 4 years old. And My Little Pony, the series, has really helped me learn a lot of good basic life lessons.
The biggest facet My Little Pony helped me out with life, it helped me get out of a very dark situation in my life. There was a time where I was living out in a not so good neighborhood within Ottawa. I was living in a subdivided house with a bunch of people, and a bunch of people who really liked doing a lot of drugs and a lot of shady things. So the house was essentially a drug hovel. There were people that came into the house that were doing cocaine. There were people that came into the house. Pot was being used a lot. Occasionally there was LSD being used there. So it was a really dark, dreary house, and I was in a depressed point in my life. I was drinking a bit heavily at that point, and I was eating to cope with the depression. I had ballooned at about 290 pounds. I had a job working part-time at Staples, but my depression really showed. I was really standoffish with people. I was really aggressive with people. I didn't like my work, and I showed it, and I was seen as poisoning the workplace environment. I guess one night, 2 a.m., sitting there, and I saw a friend had posted Ponycraft 2, which was a ponified version of the StarCraft 2 trailer. I decided, okay, watch it.
You're in way over your head. We'll see about that.
It was like, okay, wait, if they're able to pull clips that I'm seeing here, this show is clearly not as, you know, candy and fruity as the G3.5 or 3.5.5 that I had seen done all in Flash online, which was a really horribly done animation-wise show. So I decided, okay, watch the StarCraft 2 trailer. Man, StarCraft 2 is pretty awesome. I should buy that at some point. and play it. And then the second one being, I should really watch this My Little Pony show. So I watched it, I queued up an episode, and that was Call of the Cutie, which is an episode that not too many bronies get hooked off of. It actually has a least likely a chance of turning someone into a fan of the show. I got hooked on it from that episode. I went back, watched episode 1, then 2, and then 3 and 4, and kept going on until it was about 5, 6 a.m. and I needed to head off to work. I headed off to work that day with absolutely no sleep. And from that day forward, kind of everything changed. I had this one thing in my life, this one little bit of happiness in my life that I slowly pulled from, and I slowly built up and built up and built up. I started getting involved with the fandom and the community at that point, and meeting all these interesting people. 6 months after I had started watching My Little Pony, my general manager at Staples, I had been promoted from my part-time associate position to a junior technology consultant, which was a semi-management position. And I remember him saying to me, when I got that junior management position, he said to me, I don't know, I can't believe I'm doing this, because if you told me 6 months ago I'd be sitting here offering you this position, I would have said you were fucking crazy. But congratulations, you got the job. I don't know what it was that changed, but in the 6 months you've gone from, we were going to fire you in 2 weeks, and then from there you've now turned into this amazing associate. You're great, you're friendly. And I didn't tell him at the time, but I mean, what it was I started watching the show about cute little ponies that provided a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of beauty in my life that I was eventually able to use to get myself out of the current situation.
Well, when I first saw the show, the character that really stood out the most for me was the Rainbow Pony, Rainbow Dash. She seems like a real go-getter, you know, a real kind of rocker type. And she's always determined, you know, even she gets a little anxious at times, and I've had a history of being anxious and worried, but I've always been able to work around that. And she's the main thing that has really motivated me throughout the series and helps me stay determined and push myself as well as I can.
I wouldn't be standing here telling you this if it wasn't for My Little Pony. And the even more beautiful thing is, I'm not the only one. There are many bronies worldwide who have had similar acts of inspiration or have pulled themselves out of dark, dreary, depressing situations because all they needed in their lives was one show that provided a sense of optimism, one sense that provided hope, and that's what it took to get them out of there. And that's my story with My Little Pony.